Welcome back, everybody, to the Barbells and Trails podcast. I am your host, Brett, back with another episode. Okay, right off the bat, guys, I will be honest here. I just accidentally hit my mic arm. I'll be honest. I don't have anything planned for today. I have some ideas wrote down of talk, that I guess things to talk about. It is a little different. My voices might be a little clearer from last week from having my guest on, but I was supposed to possibly originally at the beginning of the week to have another guest on, a buddy of mine, on this episode, but he was busy and doing stuff with his girlfriend this weekend, so I think he'll be on next weekend. No promises, but as of today, I'm by myself, so I didn't have anything planned because I thought I was going to have someone else with me to talk to, and because of that, I didn't have anything really planned. I haven't read into another topic or finished a book or watched any documentaries recently. I have been reading a book that I've been trying to finish, but other than that, which I don't have much to, but it's not anything I can really do a topic about. It's still to do with habit. I have like 20 pages to finish on like the power of habit, I think. So I've been trying to squeeze that in before I move on to a more in-depth topic. I want to finish that book out before I really start another one and try to do something else. But let's see here. This week, I guess, okay, so we had our first official guest as of last week, so I didn't get a lot of feedback, but I hope you guys did enjoy it. I had fun with it. I know the audio quality was not the best. We did kind of say that in the episode, but we, let's see, we you could tell, I realized afterwards, after I posted it, I could hear a lawnmower in the background. And that was stuff I couldn't hear originally because when I first had everything set up and the audio kind of messed with, it was kind of quiet because we were so far from the mic. So I raised the gain without thinking about it. So then it made the background noises a little stronger. Which for some reason my room is kind of echoey to begin with, even though I do have some sound paneling on my wall. It's not a lot. It's not enough. The echo will bounce off that other corner. So there's a few things that we did to try to minimize that, but just having two people on this mic and being in a fairly, not a real big room, but large enough where there's not a lot of stuff on the wall, it kind of had a slight echo and a mower running in the background. But other than that, it worked. And when we said we were under a comforter, we weren't lying to you. We were under a comforter trying to record this, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was really cool to have Bailey on. I will definitely have her on in future episodes. If you guys do look forward to that, I'll let you know. It'll probably be in December. So you got a while, because it'll probably be when she's back from college. But so I didn't really talk about this last week, but I was like, okay, let's do a little catch up. What have I been up to? So since the last episode of just me, me and you guys, we did the habit episode. I've been trying to work in the habits like I kind of talked about in that episode. I've been doing decent. I definitely need to get a habit journal. I have a schedule planner app downloaded that I'm going to start actually making a digital schedule for me all the time throughout the week, so I can utilize that and get just kind of get myself more optimal with my usage of time, because I'm not that, and I can admit that. Definitely I am not the best at utilizing time effectively. I am a lot better than I used to be, but it is hard for me to really get after it sometimes. So I'm trying to do that. I've been trying to take cold showers. I've been changing my sleep schedule, which has gone pretty well. I only missed one day this week where I didn't wake up super early. Besides the weekends, I slept in a little bit. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm gonna let you know once I kind of get this in schedule. I'm trying to get back into my eating habits, like when me and Noah talked about trying to get back into that high protein diet. I haven't necessarily lost any more weight since then. I've kind of plateaued, had a little surplus there for a second, but it's just from some of the foods I've ate on a day-to-day basis that have kind of risen and had my weight fluctuate. But I'm looking to hopefully drop by the end of the year easily another 10 pounds or more. So I need to try getting on that and kind of make it more of a habit and routine again, like counting calories and keeping track of my macros and all that. I haven't been real good about that recently. There's some stuff I want to do in my diet to kind of make it better for me. Consider I'm trying to change my whole like daily routine to then help with my diet routine and kind of make those changes where they kind of combined and work efficiently with one another. But other than that, I've been listening to a new podcast. I'm far behind from where he is in present time because he started the podcast last January, but I will eventually catch up. And the podcast I'm listening to is Huberman's Lab, which is Andrew Huberman's podcast. He's a neuroscientist, and his first couple episodes I've listened to are all about sleep, and which I sleep decently, but there's definitely times I need to optimize it a little better. So I was definitely interested in actually listening to that. It was really cool. The stuff he talked about, like I recommend his stuff. Recommend his podcast. I need to listen to more because he has other things I'm definitely going to be interested in. But with that in particular, like he breaks down the chemical compounds, chemicals in your brain that cause you to wake up and how to basically optimize your brain to get sleepy as best as you can, or how to help yourself wake up at different times, and manipulating your temperature by taking warm or cold showers at certain times so it's easier for you to fall asleep or wake up, and change your circadian rhythm, and a bunch of stuff like that, like getting sunlight in the mornings, and like luxes, which is like a unit of measurement for like how bright something is. I didn't know that. Like all this crazy stuff. It's really cool, super scientific, and he's definitely a nerd, but he is a professor. But his stuff is pretty cool because it's like, to me, I find it fascinating that he retains all this information. I am curious how he would record his podcast, how much he actually like writes out, and if he's reading from a script. Partially because he's relaying a lot of information, or because he has that, he's already a professor. If he just kind of sets like the topic talking points and then he just knows where to go from there, I'd be interested. But I definitely recommend anyone to listen to that podcast. I'm curious to see what other topics he talks about. I think that where I'm at now, he's about to start talking about neuroplasticity, which I'm kind of interested in, which is really cool. But yeah, so I recommend that. Trying to think what else I have done this week. I dog sat. I did dog sit. So that's one reason why my routine was a little thrown off. I was dog sitting for someone for a couple days. So I was hanging out with a few dogs. So that was really fun. So you guys might have seen at my Instagram, or the podcast Instagram at this point. I am trying to create a podcast studio. I just actually went, as I'm recording this, I went to IKEA yesterday, which you would have seen on my Instagram. Basically, I have already had a rough idea or ideas to choose from, I guess, for a studio. But I was like, man, I really don't know fully. Like, I have some ideas, but it's so annoying sometimes to try shopping online. Like, I both like it because it is very convenient at times, but depending on what you're trying to do, it is always nice to go to a store and actually physically see stuff and try stuff out and kind of get a look, get measurements, blah blah blah. So I was like, you know what, my desk and setup that I have for my PC and what I guess I can consider my podcast studio, I already built everything I have here from IKEA. So why not go there? It's the best representation I have for the stuff I would want. And even if I don't get everything from IKEA, or I don't get anything today, which I did not, I can go there, kind of look for stuff that would possibly interest me, get some ideas for certain furniture usage, different things like that. Like, what could I use? Could I use this? Could I put this here? Would this be in the background? I might have some plants and I might do this, like all sorts of different stuff. So I'm trying to like figure this out. And that was something where I kind of talked to Bailey about a little bit because we didn't talk about it last week. I think Bailey's going to help me design this. She did go with me. I guess as a little sneak peek, considering you guys know what I look like, but you haven't seen Bailey. She is actually in one of the clips from IKEA, but yeah, good luck finding her. But she's gonna help me design it, and I guess one of the reasons too, and we might try doing it before she leaves for college, because one, it'd be a fun project to kind of work together on our own, because yeah, it's cool, and we both have a slight thing for interior design. It's just we don't necessarily get to like utilize it necessarily, or we never really have, but we have similar tastes at times. And then not only that, but it is her room I'm gonna use, because I'm renting this house. She's going to college, and I'm like, well, and I'm probably gonna buy this house here within the next year possibly. And I was like, well, I need a studio because I'd love to have a place to bring guests on, and I don't want to do what I did with Bailey last week. And in particular, my room, I don't have a lot of space to try fitting more people in, at least with how it's set up now. And I want to bring a visual aspect to it, and I want to also like make it visually appealing when it comes to that. And I want to have enough space to make it like comfortable and have a cool like little setup with it. And I was like, I can't really do that, at least well, or something that I can picture or make work in my room, considering the shape of my room and the amount of area I could use. So I was like, well, Bailey's room is already very small. She's moving out. Probably going to get rid of some of this stuff and the furniture and everything in here anyways. Her room's small, so it makes it easier for the sound situation, because if I put up sound panels and do this and that, it's very small, so hopefully less likely to echo all this stuff. I can make it work. Even like a month ago, I walked into a room one time and I was like, maybe I could put this here and then I could do that. And like, I was already like mapping stuff out in my head and trying to figure out how I could like rearrange stuff and all that. So I think I want to try working on that and getting that built sooner than later. One, before she goes to college, because it's an extra pair of hands and she's aesthetically inclined. So she's good at like that kind of stuff, with like design. So I think we're going to do that and kind of work on that as like a little project before she goes to college. So I will probably be posting like pictures along the way as we build it. I think we might even paint the room, repaint, because the room color right now is like a very bright turquoise blue. So I think we're going to repaint and do this and that. And so there's a lot we're going to have to do to it. I would love for you guys to give me some sort of ideas in the comment section and all that kind of stuff. Real quick, actually, pause. I need to mention this at the beginning of the podcast because I know that's when more people are likely to listen. Please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Obviously, right now, there's not a lot to look at. And that's one reason why I'm trying to build this studio in particular, is I can have a video format for you guys. So if you guys want to, you don't want to just hear my voice and you actually want to see me, we can do that. And that's one reason why we're trying to put the studio together. So if you haven't already, maybe go subscribe. I want to hit 50 subscribers by the end of the year. I feel like it will be a lot easier once I'm able to get actual video footage up and going when I put the studio together. So please go over there and subscribe. But yeah, definitely on here or on Instagram, comment, DM me, whatever. Any ideas you have for the podcast. I'll put a poll on Spotify. All of it. Like I want your guys' input if you have any, or if you're willing to give any. Because I wanted to do this. I thought it'd be really fun. And make it easier when I want to have people on, because I do want to have people on eventually. So shout out to a few people. I'd like to have one of my uncles on for sure. Person from work that I find very interesting and have deep conversations with to begin with. An old coworker at one of my old jobs, name's Andrew. Shout out to Andrew if he listens to this podcast, which I think he has. But if he listens to this episode, once I get the studio put together, definitely probably going to have you on. But I just kind of wanted to have something to make it feel more official for me. It gives me an actual area to like focus on working on stuff while I'm in there. And then once I get it all set up and I have everything set up like it needs to, I'll have extra mics for people. And I'll obviously have the one for me, when it's just myself or whatever. And it'll just be a click and go kind of thing. And it'll be fairly simple. So I'm excited to kind of get this started and get this up and running. It might not be for another month before it's like fully finished and set up. And I have a camera in particular to actually record it visually. I might have it set up sooner, possibly, where I at least record in there, but to actually have it where like I have the visual aspects of it finished up and a camera, it might be a month or so. So I'm excited for that. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am too. Can't wait. I'm kind of excited to go through and get all the ideas wrote down and like draw some stuff up, I guess, and figure it out, because it'll be cool. But speaking of that, I guess, which depending on how things go, this will come in handy. Hopefully, if we can get this done before Bailey leaves, is that Noah is going to be in town. He actually shows up the day this releases. So he will be in town when this episode comes out. And his birthday is when he's in town as well, his 21st. So definitely expect to probably see some pictures of me and Noah on the Instagram out for his birthday or something. And while he's in town, I'm probably going to have him on the podcast for an episode. So hopefully I have a semi-set up studio, at least a remnants of it, where we can record and sit down together and actually record an episode together. So that will be sick. I'm excited for that. So he will be turning the big 2-1. So we might be going out. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can do that when Noah's here. We talked about it a while ago. So I I feel like for me personally, for the podcast and to do it like I want, the studio is definitely the next step. And part of that is well, I said is like 4 times in 3 seconds. Part of that is it gives me that like space, and it makes it feel more official for me, I guess. I don't know, like it gives me kind of like I said with the habit thing, it gives me like that space to do it, because like now it's in my room and it's like I sleep 2 feet from where I record, and I don't only record here, I also edit at the same exact seat. I do this and that, so kind of doing that will give me a little breakup of some stuff, helps me to feel a little more professional. But I feel like one of the big things in particular is it does give me a chance to get guests on, at least in person, or have that as an option. So that I'm really excited for. I'm excited to do that in general, but I'm also excited to bring that in video format for you guys. But I've been thinking about it a lot, and it's kind of been on the back of my mind for a hot minute. So I am kind of pumped and excited for it. But let's see, what else could we talk about? Next week's episode, like I said, hopefully we'll have one of my old coworkers and friends on. He will not be in person, so hopefully we don't have audio issues. Depends. I don't know what he's recording on, so we'll figure that out probably the day of. But he lives in North Carolina at this moment, and so we will be recording over the internet, I guess, and we'll record an episode hopefully next week. So I'll have my second guest on almost back to back, sort of, because it might be the next episode after that Noah's on. So it'll be interesting. It just kind of depends on how things line up. We'll see. But depending on when that is, not next episode, but the episode after, I'm just going to give you guys a little preview. I think I'm going to try to have that episode on Wim Hof. If you don't know who that is, you can look him up. I don't want to get too into it, but he's broken a bunch of world records, and his thing has to do with a lot of mental health, and cold exposure, and basically seeking physical discomforts to grow your mental strength, mental integrity, I guess. I don't some I guess that's a good way to put it. So I'm not gonna go totally into it, but I think that after that, or after the Craig is the friend that I'm gonna have on next week, hopefully. I didn't mean to say his name then, but hey. So after that episode with Craig, he might be that next episode. If not, it might go Craig, Noah, and then the Wim Hof episode. So we'll see. He's a very cool guy. I've watched videos with him and like basically a documentary. I've read part of his book. I'm probably going to restart because I didn't get super far into it and I hadn't finished the book. So that's one reason why I want to do it on him in general, is because I want to give myself a reason to finish the book. But an amazing dude, really cool. I feel like he would be an amazing, be a good episode to go with. And yeah, we'll go from there. Not only that, I am going to the Machine Gun Kelly concert in 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm going to see Machine Gun Kelly. I'm super excited. I think I'm having a friend go with me. I would have tried having Noah I would have tried having Noah go with me, but he's going to be heading back to Oregon at that point. When the concert is. So super excited for that. I've wanted to see him. I wanted to see him when he was here last year, but at the time tickets were like $160 for the lawn where he was. And I was like, that's a little pricey. It's a lot more than I was wanting. And I guess at that point I wasn't as big as a fan. So I already have the tickets. Hopefully I'm going. I am going. Hopefully I'm going with my friend. If not, if there's any single ladies out there that love Machine Gun Kelly, that are into blondes, hit me up. We'll go to the Machine Gun Kelly concert if you can't go. So I am really excited for that. I know it's going to be an amazing concert. The last concert I went to in person was NF. That's an artist I haven't talked about on the podcast. But one of my favorites, one of Noah's favorites as well. Probably the best performance I had ever seen live. I say that, and I haven't been to a lot of concerts, but it was an amazing performance. Even Craig, the one that's going to be on in a couple weeks, he's been to a shit ton of concerts, and he said it was easily top 3, and he didn't even know the artist that well. I just kind of forced him to go, and he loved it. It was an amazing concert. So I'm looking forward to the Machine Gun Kelly concert. I think it'll be awesome. I'm definitely going to lose my voice, but it's going to be a great time. Okay. So I thought that, I mean, I knew this episode was already going to be a little short. So yeah, that's going to happen. Cause like I said, I didn't totally have everything to talk about, but I guess, let's talk about, stuff in the news a little bit. I don't know. This isn't totally fun because a lot of stuff I've been seeing recently, it looks kind of like the world's falling apart around us. It seems like everybody's actually waking up to global warming and climate change for the first time ever. I mean, yeah, we've had like a record heat wave through the U.S. I think it was, I saw the other day, I think it was like 75 million Americans were in a heat extreme like risk because of how hot the temperatures were. I'm pretty sure London just had a record-breaking heat as well last week, where it got 105 degrees Fahrenheit, which for London, England, it sounds ridiculous. Not only that, but there's a California wildfires, which I feel like is not uncommon at this point, sadly. But even during the heat wave in London, there was fires in the city at one point because shit got so hot. It's been kind of crazy. Trying to think. What, like, yeah, so the wildfire right now going on in California. Wildfire raging for the third day. Third day Sunday. Yeah, in Central California, outside Yosemite National Park. I'm going to be pissed if Yosemite gets burned down because it's a place I've always wanted to visit, and if it's ashes, I might cry. It has burned more than 14,000 acres and has forced thousands to evacuate from rural communities, officials said. The fire remains 0% contained as of Sunday morning, which that's today. It began on Friday in the foothills of the Sahara, Nevada, near a small community of Mid-Pines. Wow, okay. This is kind of crazy. Governor Newsom declares a state of emergency for the county after the fire forced more than 3,000 people to evacuate from their homes. Wow. Activating a state of emergency allows for additional resources to aid response to the fire. That's pretty crazy. At that time, the blaze is threatening over 2,000 structures. By Saturday morning, wow. By Saturday morning, it had burned 6,500 acres and nearly 12,000 by that evening. This is ridiculous. 11 fire crews with more than 400 personnel, as well as 45 fire engines and 4 helicopters have been assigned to fight the flames. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, It blows my mind. Even when the closest, I guess, wildfire that has been near like where I live, because this isn't common, like this doesn't happen. The only times we get fires is if someone like does arson and like sets a field on fire, which can be bad, but it's manageable enough, and that doesn't happen very often. But this is, well, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, wildfires have been a big thing every year, and I even feel like they were so, like, they were less common when I was a kid. Like, it happened, but not like it's happened within the past 4 years, 5 years, where just like tens and tens and tens of thousands of acres burn every year. Like, and some of them are this one. I don't know how this one started actually, but like the what one was a gender reveal from a firework. Oh, dude, I don't like that. Pisses me off. Like it's like I know here, and like we've been dealing with the drought here the past like month. Like we hadn't where I live. Like we haven't had rain in forever, and it's been hot. Like it basically we've had our first major rains last weekend, which immediately like evaporated and got sucked into the ground within minutes. That's how dry it was. Like it was gone, even though it rained like almost all day. Right after it stopped raining, it like was basically absorbed, and then it rained a little bit like yesterday and today, and we might actually get some rain this week. But it's like even in southern Indiana, where there are like there's forests, I don't think I've ever had fire issues because I feel like people in that area are, I don't know, I can't say the brightest because I know in that area there's also like meth labs and stuff back in those woods and in certain places. It's kind of crazy. Where I lived at one point just from that alone. But it's there's nothing like that's ever happened. The closest, like I said, the closest wildfire I can recall to where I live would have been in Tennessee, and that was like now 6 years ago, and that was like near Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, and that I feel like that was the closest wildfire. Well, I think it was even last year or 2 years ago. Was it 2019, 2020? That I don't know where the fire was, but it's out west. I think it was somewhere out west. It was so bad that we were getting smoke here. And that's the first time I have ever seen that happen in my life. And I woke up, or we were at work, and I was like, man, what the hell is that haze? It looks foggy, but it's not foggy. Like, you can tell. And then I, like, looked it up, and they were like, oh, yeah, that's, like, smoke that drifted, like, 2,000 miles. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I think that same smoke, like, a few days later was in, like, New York. And to me, that's, like, bonkers. Terrible word to use. But I feel like it describes the situation. And I feel like nothing like that had ever happened, at least when I was a kid. And I have been, I say environmentally conscious as a child. Like, once I learned what global warming was, if people want to tell me global warming isn't real, you can do that. I don't really care. I know my stance on it, and I've read and done a lot. I mean, I had environmental sciences in my high school, and I took that, and I've read a lot and watched a lot on climate change, and looked into renewable energies. Excuse me. And just the impacts that we have on the environment in general and a bunch of stuff. And I know I probably don't live the cleanest life that I could, but I know eventually I'm gonna offset that. I say that, but I guess I don't technically know that. But for me personally, it's always been a thing where I've wanted to build my own house. And in that, I've wanted to build a house that has a zero, if not negative, carbon footprint. Like if I would build my house, I would definitely have solar panels, and a bunch of other stuff as well with batteries, and have solar water heater and rainwater filter system, bunch of shit. Like I've thought about it, like even faucets and shower heads that reduce water usage, and like I've thought about a lot. I really did. I had like a time in high school where I literally went through and looked at like different sustainable green products and stuff to use for like home construction and stuff like that. Like it's kind of like my dream to do that eventually, but it's just really bad. I know I don't, like I said, I don't live the cleanest life, and like I'm not the most waste conscious words. Man, I suck as a podcaster because my vocabulary at times is absolute garbage. But I'm aware for the most part, and I try not to do anything like crazy when it comes down to it. And at the same time, I invest in green solutions, I guess. I'm very conscious of it. I love looking into it, but I also know I mean, every little bit counts for like, if everybody changed their ways to live more sustainably and green, it would have a major impact. But the big thing that has a large impact is what the government decides to do, what industries and companies decide to do. Me doing one thing won't necessarily have a large impact, and I realize that, and I know that's not a good excuse for some of the shit I do, but there's stuff I do. Like one thing that I've learned is actually a major component of saving electricity is washing your clothes in cold water. Like it uses like I think 80% less electricity than if you do a hot water wash, which is cool. Didn't know that. But there's different stuff like I'm definitely gonna look into. If I buy this house, I'm contemplating looking into putting solar on the house, but it's Indiana as well. It's not super sunny all the time, but it's something I've contemplated a little bit here and there, but it's interesting. I think for what I've seen, if I look at local news recently, I saw something where Biden was going to, what was it? Biden was supposedly using his executive powers to do his climate agenda, which I don't totally know what it is. It says increase funding for disaster preparedness, home air conditioning, wind farms, and more. Biden called climate change an emergency, but stopped short of a formal emergency declaration, which would have allowed him greater power to increase funding for climate policy. This move comes as 100 million Americans, oh, I was wrong, I was 25 million off, are under heat warnings. So it's kind of sad because even as a kid, I realized that, like, looking back at my life where I am now, I can definitely recall shit being different, like weather-wise, even climate-wise. Like, I remember as a kid, like when I was young, them talking almost every single year, there was some sort of record being broken from either having a bunch of rain in the spring or not having any rain in the summer, or having the hottest day on record since the 80s, blah, 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 breaking records here and there. And I was seeing that trend as a child, and I realized I don't think this is good. I don't think we should be breaking weather records. Obviously, some people will say, well, those records are only 200 years old. Blah. Yeah, they are. But it's also within the past 200 years, roughly, that we've basically hit the industrial revolution and have actually started to have an impact on like the global climate system. And you can argue with me all you want on that. It is what it is. I feel like eventually I probably will have a more in-depth I'll definitely have a more in-depth climate episode because it is something I'm interested in. But I always see stuff, and that's one thing I hate about politics. And it's not, I like talking about it because it's interesting, but it's like, you see all these things, and it's like, oh, here's a bill proposal, especially in the U.S., because I feel like we have one of the largest impacts as a country when it comes to our political climate. But that's probably not a great thing. That could just be me looking at it as an American. Most countries might not care, but at the same time, we do have an impact globally because of how large of a country we are and how many people we have. And we are one of the top powers. But anyways, with that, it's like, I see these bills come up and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to introduce green energy. We're going to do this. We're going to do some infrastructure. That'll be cool. That's good. We'll provide jobs. We'll put in solar paneling. We'll put in some wind turbines, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll go in and then it just won't pass. And it's because probably some more on the conservative side are like, well, where are we going to get the money? Why do we got to spend this money? All this stuff, or climate change isn't real. Like, I've heard that growing up, like, as an argument. Like, I've had that argument with people. I've talked to people my own age that have been like, I don't give a shit about what I do because when it really gets bad, I'll be near death anyways. They can figure it out. And I'm like, well, at that point, if you just leave it, like if our generation in particular, my generation says, I don't want to worry about it, or even the generation above us says, I don't want to worry about it, it's by the time we get old where it won't really be something we can probably change and fix. Where it's like now is where we can actually make a difference. And for me, when I see stuff like that, which has a definite benefit to, I feel like in the long run, the U.S. economy, the overall global like system, less pollution, like everything, I feel like that it just has a net positive, and then it just gets shot down just because people don't believe in it, believe the science, or they don't think we should spend money on that, but they want to spend money on giving money to some third party military contractor to design a new rocket system for $2 billion or some shit. Like, I don't know. I'm just using a weird example. But it's just like, to me, it's just like that in itself is terrible. And it's like, if you can get stuff passed politically, that's going to have the most impact because they're the ones that can impact industrial systems and large companies and how they handle things. And governments and companies are the ones that have the impact. Amazon is going to have the largest impact probably out of most. And like Amazon, Google, FedEx, like those shipping companies, like stuff with that, and the government and everything they do are the two like areas that are going to have like the largest impact on those kind of choices. And it's like now people are just kind of waking up to it because they're like, oh, I just realized summers are starting to get a little hot. I don't know how much I like this. And it's like, you should have been thinking about this a while ago. Like, shit, people were preaching climate 20 years before I was born. And nothing's really happened. Like, nothing, like, things have gotten better, but not like they probably should have been. Like, we definitely use plastics too much. We, like, there's just a lot, and there's breakthroughs every year. And sadly, sometimes it's not stuff that's talked about, but like the superworm that can now digest plastics, which is weird and crazy, but if that's a way to get rid of plastics, that's awesome. Or like Mr. Beast raising money for cleaning the oceans, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he was on Joe Rogan a few years ago. but the guy that runs a company that basically designed a program and a nonprofit to get trash out of the Pacific Ocean and like do stuff like that, like, is amazing. I've seen the stuff they do. It's awesome. I mean, there's breakthroughs and stuff like that all the time, and it's sick. And like one thing that I feel like so talked about or not talked about enough is like nuclear energy in particular. Like, yeah, I get it. People have a fear of like, I don't know, a nuclear disaster, but when you look, I've looked at statistics, I've read certain things, but it's like when you look at the numbers of the amount of people that die from different forms of energy consumption or production, like not hydroponic, but hydro, like dams and constructing and building that, or solar or wind or coal, and you look at the amount of casualties, and it's like nuclear is like one person in 100 years or something. I might be wrong. Maybe it's 10. And then it's like, for the rest, it's like super high. I think it's like 150 die from solar, and the main reason a year. And I think the main reason is from people falling off of roofs when installing solar panels, which, I mean, that's not necessarily like super catastrophic, but at the same time, people are dying from it. But it's just like, if you look at it that way, or the cost or the net waste after 80 years, like I've also seen another thing where it's like the amount of nuclear waste that powered millions of homes or something for 60 years and how much that is compared to using a coal plant for the same amount of time doing the same, and how much waste that is. And it's like dramatically different in the amount of waste that's used. And like there's new stuff coming out where there's better ways to get rid of your nuclear waste and all this, and like, I don't know, it's just stuff that's not talked about, sadly. And I feel like more needs to be done. Hopefully stuff will finally start to go through, but it's definitely the biggest issue we have globally as like humans. Like, it's at this point, you can't deny we've had some sort of impact. Right now, solar and wind's the cheapest it's ever been. I think last time I looked, I think it's cheaper than fossil fuel energy. So like for coal, which is record breaking. That's the first time that's ever happened. So it's like maybe solar and wind's gonna start becoming more popular because it's cheaper to produce, but it's also not sustainable because it's not always sunny, it's not always windy. So like there's stuff you gotta do. Like, it's not an easy task or solution, but it's definitely stuff that needs to be talked about. I know I definitely just went on a tangent, but I don't know. It's something that's a big topic, and hopefully people start to realize that. But I guess in other news, that's like a little nicer. Well, I'll get to the nicer stuff in a minute. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like the world's low-key collapsing. I mean, we got heat waves, fires. Sri Lanka is like falling apart. Riots and protests in China over the bank. I saw that. That's crazy. COVID 2 years ago. Ukraine, like everything, it's going nuts. Like stuff's a little crazy. That's for damn sure. But I guess this one's a pretty interesting little news thing. So let's talk about this. Wild bison reintroduced to the UK. European bison have been reintroduced in the wild in the UK. Didn't know there was bison there to begin with. But it's the first time in thousands of years. Why are they... Okay, so if it's been thousands of years, why are they putting them there again? It's an island. There's not a lot of space. There's a lot of people there. They're going to die. I don't know. That might not be the best idea. European bison, Europe's largest land animal, went extinct in the wild in the mid-1900s. Since then, reintroduction projects have successfully restored wild bison populations throughout Europe. Okay. The 3 bison released in the southeastern UK are intended to serve as ecosystem engineers, restoring natural habitats by spreading seeds, filling felling trees, and opening natural paths through the woods. Researchers confined the bison to a 12-acre plot of woods, which is expected to expand. Interesting. That's not a lot of room. It could be worse, but that's interesting. I thought I had heard something about the European bison. Are there any wild bison now in the U.S.? I don't know that. So many have died. There used to be hundreds or 100+ million wild bison. Imagine that. What the hell? And there's none. That's crazy in itself. Another thing I just saw that came out this week. Okay, interesting. Elephants hold clue for cancer? ? UK study identified elephant genes that prevent the spread of cancer cells, offering the clue for doctors. Cancer cells are formed from cell mutations that cause uncontrollable growth. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. While elephants' large size should make them more likely to develop cancerous tumors, few do. And the researchers find that this is because elephants have 40 versions of a gene that regulates cell growth and division. Humans only have 2. The gene pushes mutated cells to repair or destroy themselves, preventing the growth of tumors. Okay, interesting. I actually knew this already. I had watched a video where they talked about tumor growth, and I didn't realize that technically it's more common for large animals not to have cancer or develop cancer. Like there's right? Maybe I have it backwards. I don't know. It's really weird. But I think also with the human thing and us having cancer, part of it is like, cancer has probably always been around. But the reason cancer is so bad now is because everything that people put in their bodies, this stuff we're around, like everything, like processed foods, plastics in the air, smoke, exhaust fumes, just like stuff in your house, like dirty air, like pollution. And not only that, but we have better tests to know if you have cancer or not, where like people used to not. So it's going to be really high, but it's also how people treat their bodies. Also, the U.S., the number one is like heart disease. And the United States is not a healthy country. That's a fact. I think it's like 50 to 60% of the population is technically morbidly obese, or 40% obese, 60% or more are overweight. That's not good. And that also causes cancer and other risks. So, but that's cool though. That's cool to find out. Sinkholes in New York. I saw that too. I saw pictures of a sinkhole that developed in New York, which is crazy. And I think it's because of the crazy amount of rainfall in the area. I also know that Boris Johnson is now gone in the UK. I don't totally know why or what that's about. I don't know UK politics. I just know that he was their guy and he's gone. The bank stuff in China, I didn't totally know exactly what's going on, but it sounded like, for what I saw, the bank froze $1.5 billion in assets from personal savings accounts. And then they said that they were investment products and were saying that you can't withdraw your money. So they basically just took everybody's money, which is kind of terrifying. So that's not good. Other news real quick. Biden is doing a police budget. So that's interesting. It's probably needed for sure. Don't think they should necessarily have tanks, but I think that at times officers definitely should be compensated for the work they do, considering what they have to deal with. And in some places, we probably need more police officers. So if we can pay for more police officers, that's cool. President Biden is requesting $37 billion in next year's federal budget to fight crime. Biden's Safer American plan includes $13 billion to hire and train 100 1,000 police officers, as well as funds for clearing court backlogs and crime prevention. The proposal comes as an uptick in crime and gun violence has made public safety a major topic in November's midterm elections, and much of the United States crime rates are at the highest in 2 decades. Yeah, true. Biden canceled his speech announcing the new plan after he tested positive for COVID-19 on Thursday. He is reported experiencing mild symptoms. Okay, cool. So he has COVID, but sounds like he's okay. I guess that's nice. Well, that's interesting. I think that, yeah, I mean, that should happen. I think we definitely need more police. I feel like police attitudes at times, it's interesting, but I've also seen stuff both ways. Most stuff is all about perspective and how you look at things, so you got to see both sides to the story. But that's interesting. I think it's probably would be a net positive, because it seems like we've been going crazy in the U.S. recently, not in a good way. I guess in good news, HIMARS, I don't know if that's how they're pronounced, high mobility artillery rocket systems we have sent to Ukraine have boosted Ukraine's military power. It's a mounted missile truck system, which can shoot 6 precise high explosive rockets up to 52 miles. We have supplied Ukraine in June. We've supplied 12 and are sending 4 more. And apparently these weapons have been really helping have been helping in the war, because it's allowed them to reach targets that they beforehand could not. So the weapons have been devastating against Russia, which typically crowd large numbers of soldiers and supplies on bases near train tracks. Before, Ukraine couldn't strike them. Now they can. So that's interesting. I guess that's good news for the most part, because go Ukraine for sure. But I don't know if that makes us look worse towards Russia, because we've gave so many weapons. I don't want to end up in a war with Russia, because I know that basically will lead to World War III. Hopefully any of my listeners feel the same. In other news, what else? Panama protests. Panama is seeing widespread unrest with people protest food shortages, fuel shortages, and more. Police are overtaking police cars, blocking roads, and much more. Wow. Panama's president offered to lower the prices of various goods in response, but they tore up his offer and are demanding a seat at the table. Wow. They rejected the offer. The people have demanded the people have not demanded what we really need. The substitutions of the corrupt and outdated, wow. Okay. That destroys us morally and economically, one protester leader wrote. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's fair. I mean, people are struggling right now economically. Like, we are definitely at the brink of a recession. But we'll get through it. I mean, we're doing better than other countries. There's not widespread protests and fuel shortages as of yet. Cross your fingers it won't happen, but okay, so that was kind of dark. Or not dark, but sad. I don't think, okay, never mind. I guess this episode isn't super long because I got on it, or super short because I did get on a tangent, and I'm good at doing that. So I should have known that I would have found something to talk about. But I guess in good news, let's talk about something that's cool. All right. With food prices rising, this urban farmer is on a mission to help thousands of people grow their own. In the state of Georgia, where 1 in 8 people face hunger, one farmer has made his mission not only to feed the hungry, but to help them grow a bounty in their own backyard. Quote, "My main goal is to make sure that marginalized and underserved communities have access to locally grown food that's free of chemicals, said Bobby Wilson, who operates the nonprofit. The nonprofit is Metro Atlanta Urban Farms. We have turned 5 acres of land right here in the heart of the city into a green oasis that really impacts the quality of life for people that live around here. Since 2009, Wilson has taught thousands of people how to plant and grow their own vegetables and prepare meals with them, including onions, garlic, cucumbers, tomatoes, collard greens, squash, and eggplant. Wow, that's cool. Wilson is the first college graduate, and his family worked at the University of Georgia for more than 20 years, or worked with the University of Georgia, bringing gardening education and programs to public housing complexes, schools, and churches throughout the metro Atlanta. Through his work, he saw a great need for fresh, healthy foods in low-income urban communities. When he retired in 2009, he used a portion of his retirement savings to purchase the farm and help fill the gap. Wow. That man is a hero, and that is amazing, because that is the exact quote, or what is it? You can teach a man to fish, or you can give a man a fish. I'm really fucking this up right now, but what's gonna be better? Teaching the man how to fish, he'll be able to feed himself for life. Giving a man a fish, he'll feed him for a day. So that's actually kind of great, and that's definitely needed in major cities. That is quite amazing. I mean that's cool. I wish cities were more green. I wish that was more common. I wish I did that. I am a picky eater, but yeah, I should do that. That's awesome. Okay, so I mean we this isn't necessarily a super short episode, like I said, but I feel like before we close it, because it's fun and I enjoy it and I'm a nerd, we've went over this before, I don't got to tell you again. I'm going to do a quick 10 fun facts. I won't do more than 10. I won't lose count of the numbers, so let me, like I did last time. So let's do that. I'll do some closing remarks. I say that as if I'm doing a speech, and then we'll get out of here, I guess. I'm really weird. I don't know what I'm doing still. I don't know if you guys have realized this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just here. I'm having fun with it. I hope you guys are enjoying. I'm losing my mind. But anyways, I'm new to this. So, fun fact number uno. Blue whales eat 500,000 calories in one mouthful. Holy shit. That makes sense, but I would have never known that. Just to wrap your brain around the second part of this animal fact, those 457,000 calories are more than 240 times the energy more than 240 times the energy the whale uses to scoop those krill into its mouth. What the hell? That's ridiculous. I mean, it makes sense. It's the world's largest animal, but wow. I didn't know that. Oh, I've heard that one before. I'm not going to say that. Okay, ready? Number 2. Turkeys can blush. When turkeys are scared or excited, like when the males see a female they're interested in, their pale skin on their head and necks turn bright red, blue, or white. The flap of skin under their beaks, called the snood, also reddens. By the way, this is why the president pardons a turkey every Thanksgiving. Oh, that's a link. Haha. Interesting. Well, I didn't know that, but at least I know I'm not the only one that blushes and gets real red. I get red pretty easily when I'm embarrassed, so that happens. Fact number 3. Most Disney characters wear gloves to keep animation simple. I guess that makes sense. Never thought about it. Walt Disney might have been the first to put gloves on his characters, as seen in the 1929's The Opry House starring Mickey Mouse. In addition to being easier to animate, there's another reason for the gloves. We didn't want him to have mouse hands because he was supposed to be more human, Disney told his biographer in 1957. Well, I guess that makes sense. It would be kind of creepy. Imagine like little mice hands. Yeah. The gloves. Okay. I see what you're saying here. Makes sense. Fact number 4. The man with the world's deepest voice can make sounds humans can't hear. What? The man Tim Storms can't even hear the note, which is 8 octaves below the lowest G on the piano, but elephants can. Wow. Okay, that's all right. I'm kind of blown away by that. Fact number 5: the current American flag was designed by a high school student. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so it started as a school project for Bob Heft's junior year history class in 1958 and only earned a B minus. Its design had 50 stars. Even though Alaska and Hawaii weren't even states yet, Heft figured the two would earn statehood soon and showed the government his design. After President Dwight D. Eisenhower called to say the design was approved, Heft's teacher changed his grade to an A. That's actually really cool. I never thought about that. I mean, yeah, Alaska and Hawaii only became states in 1959, so that's actually amazing. Wow, I never would have thought of that, but that's awesome. That's really cool. Fact 6: cows don't have upper front teeth. Or wait, what? Cows don't have upper front teeth. They do have molars on top in the back of their mouths, but where you'd expect upper incisors, cows, sheep, and goats have a thick layer of tissue called a dental pad. They use that with their bottom teeth to pull out grass. You know, being around livestock, I never necessarily realized that, but that makes a lot of sense now. I kind of feel stupid. I do feel pretty stupid considering I basically had a goat nibbling on my hand like a week and a half ago. And thinking back to it, yeah, they don't have upper teeth. Why did I not know this? I'm stupid. Or I probably knew it, but I didn't realize it. Fact 7. Fact 7. I'm not forgetting. If I'm out of order, I'm going to be so pissed. Fact 7. Thanks to 3D printing, NASA can basically email tools to astronauts. Getting new equipment to the space station used to take months or years, but now new technology means the tools are ready within hours. That's pretty cool. Fact number 8. Only a quarter of the Sahara Desert is sandy. Wait, what? Most of it is covered in gravel, though it also contains mountains and oases. And here's another geography fact that everyone gets it wrong. It isn't the world's largest desert. Antarctica is. I guess so, but it's not fun. That's an ice desert. I feel like the dry desert is a desert, you know. But that's interesting. I never would have thought of that. Wait, what? Okay, fact number 9. Bananas grow upside down, or technically we peel them upside down. Naturally, they grow outward from the stems, but that means the bottoms actually face the sky. As they get bigger, the fruits turn towards the sun, forming their distinct curve. Oh, interesting. I mean, I'm like a monkey. I peel from the bottom. Or is that the bottom? Yeah, technically, I peel from the bottom. It's a lot easier. Trust me. You guys should try it. Okay. Gotta end a good one. Okay, yeah, this works. Okay, number 10, last fact of the day. There were active volcanoes on the moon when dinosaurs were alive. That's kind of weird. Imagine, could you see the glow? Ooh, can we have moon volcanoes again? That'd be awesome. Most of the volcanoes probably stopped erupting about 1 billion years ago. Never mind, that was a long time ago. But NASA findings have suggested there might still have been active lava flow 100 million years ago when dinosaurs were still roaming. Wow. That's still a long time ago, but like humans didn't exist at all. So I guess we can't see it, but that would be sick. Like, imagine looking up and seeing like a slight orange glow possibly on the surface of the moon. That would be really, really, really cool. But all right, so I think that's going to kind of wrap up the episode this week. I know there was nothing too serious. It got kind of dark there. I got on a tangent on climate change. I'm really a nerd. When I get on tangents and I talk, I'll go. So I'm excited to hopefully have a guest on next weekend. Noah will be on within the coming weeks. Hopefully I have the studio put together in the next coming weeks. So I'm super excited for all of that. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, follow on Instagram, like and subscribe on YouTube, follow and rate on Spotify or any other platform you're listening on, because we listen to all of them. Real quick, I just realized I keep forgetting for the past 3 episodes. I'm pretty sure I have a reoccurring listener from Canada that from the past at least 3 or 4 weeks. If you do listen to this, shout out to you. I know this is at the end, so if you actually listen all the way through, I really do appreciate you. But shout out to you, our Canadian listener, if it's the same dude every time. I really do appreciate it, and that's awesome to have someone out of the country listen to the podcast. That's amazing. I really do appreciate it. But I think that'll do it for this week. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I suck at English. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.